talk, then I'm gonna pull my screen up when it's my turn, okay?
Okay. And here we go. Yeah, there are people in here.
Mm-hmm. Oh, wow, we have a huge group. That's great. Yeah, so exciting.
It is exciting. Okay. Oh, now I moved this and I can't find my speech.
Take your time. It's all right. People are loading in.
Okay.
And it's like 98, 99. It's ticking up. So we'll give people a chance to come in. Take your time.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. 100. We're at 102.
Oh my gosh.
Isn't that awesome?
This is so
103.
cool. Okay. I think it's slowing down, so we should start. You ready?
I am, yeah.
Okay, I'm hoping everyone can hear me. Welcome, everyone. My name is Joni Brotman. I'm a college counselor at Parker School. And I'm just kind of running the background, not very well. If it messes up, I apologize ahead of time. I just have a few opening housekeeping things, and then we can get started. So welcome to the virtual college fair for all Hawaii students. Thank you for joining us. Just a few housekeeping announcements before we get started. You can use the Q&A button on your screen to type your questions to our presenters at any time. Your camera and microphone are off, so the panelists cannot see or hear you. This is just one of many different sessions happening, so be sure to check out the full schedule at strivescan.com/Hawaii. And this presentation is being recorded and will be available within about a week at the same website. So now I would like to turn this over to my friend Matt Deschner from the University of Portland. And Matt, take it away. I'm going to disappear.
All right, so we are going to start a slideshow for everybody, and I want to send out a huge welcome to Hawaii students and families, aunties, uncles, grandma, grandpa. It is wonderful to have all of you here today. I so wish that I would be giving all of you this presentation in person. However, we're going to just make this work, and we're going to do it online, and all of you are online pros now. And I just have to tell you, I'm getting better, but I may not be there yet. So if there are any technical difficulties, go ahead and just bear with me. Again, my contact information is here. My name is Matthew Deschner. I work at the University of Portland. I work in our Office of Admissions, and my email is here for anybody that would like to follow up with questions, comments, anything that you need assistance with as it relates to the college search. I am here for you. Couple things, we have a Q&A feature. So if you have questions during today's session, I want you to go ahead and type those in. I'm going to save a little bit of time at the end to answer your questions, but I won't be answering them during my presentation because I'm no good at doing two things at the same time, especially on webinars like this, all right? So what I want everybody to do is hone in on the college search process. This is our presentation today, the college search process, tips and recommendations on finding the right fit for you. And this means the right fit for each and every one of you students, all right? This is a family decision, but we ultimately have to figure out where do we want to be for college, all right? So things that you need to think about as far as finding the right fit. Before I even discuss them, I want every single person in this room today to repeat after me, all right? And I know I'm not going to hear you, and I know that you're muted and your cameras are off, but I trust that all of you are going to repeat after me at home. Which college or university, I'll give you some time to say it, is the best college or university, say it loud at home, for me, okay? Remember that last part, for me. So I'll repeat this. Which college or university is the best fit for me? And the only way to answer this question is to set criteria and to do your research. If you're a senior in today's session, wonderful. If you're a junior, or even a sophomore or freshman, this information is going to be incredibly valuable for all of you, all right? Which college or university is the best fit for you? And the only way to answer this question is to set up parameters, to set up criteria, and to do research ahead of time. So we're going to talk about the different things today that I encourage all of you to look at every single school that you will be applying to, all right? I've got a list of 5 things. I've been at University of Portland for 15 years. I've been visiting the Aloha State for 15 years, all right? So I know your schools, I know your college counselors, I know your towns, I know how to get around and maybe take some shortcuts to get to the schools and bypass some of the traffic, especially on Oahu. But I know we have a lot of neighbor island students here as well. Here's another thing that I know about Hawaii students. I would say the vast majority go to college, if you choose to go to the mainland, sight unseen, which means you will not have a chance to go visit the college that you're considering until you actually get there for your first year as a freshman, all right? So what you need to do is you need to do a lot of research to make sure that where you're ultimately going to go is the best place for you. So I've come up with a list of 5 things for us to consider today. Number 1, location. All right, you've always heard location, 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 but what does this actually mean? I want all of you to really think about this issue, especially now during coronavirus. Are you potentially going to leave home, or are you going to stay in your home state? All right, UH Hilo, you've got West Oahu, you've got different places. Maybe you're in Maui and you stay at the community college there. This is up to you and your family, but you've got to decide, am I staying home? Am I going to stay on the islands? Or am I going to go away to the mainland? All right, this is really important. So think about location. Then if you are leaving home, what does that mean? How long are your plane flights going to be? When you get to the location that you're going to be flying to, how long does it take you from the airport to get to the campus? Do you need a car? Some cities on the mainland require that you have a car. Some locations have public transportation and it's really easy to get around. Some places have alternative forms of transportation like biking, cycling. In Portland, for example, we have thousands and thousands of commuters on bicycle. We have bike lanes attached to every major road. Helmets are required. We even have bike police. And what we do is we create a safe infrastructure for getting around, whether it's public transportation, buses, trains, light rail, things like that, and city biking. So you have to look at all the locations that you're considering and figure out how far away from home is it? How long are my plane flights? When I get to the airport, how far away is it that I need to go? And then once you're in the airport, how are you going to get there? Then when you're on the campus, what is the surrounding area like? So you're going to ask questions like safety, or maybe you're an individual that's really interested in all the different types of weather, all right? Is there fall? Is there winter? Is there a summer and a spring? And how are the different seasons going to affect your life? If you're looking for new experiences, then you should definitely consider the mainland. But location is an incredible piece of the application process and the college search process all wrapped up into one. So please consider it. Know where you're interested in going and don't apply to colleges that might be in the wrong location. Do apply to colleges that you think that they're in an area that you'd like to explore. A couple more things about this, and then I'm going to move on to category number 2. You've got to look at things like who are you as a student, as an individual, as a person? Are you interested in nature? So mountains, ocean, skiing, going to coasts on the mainland. So you got the West Coast, you got the East Coast, you have the South. What do those things mean to you? Do you want to be connected to nature? Do you want to be maybe in the middle of a big city? Do you want to be in the urban downtown city center of a big city or a small city or a town? Those things matter. So you've got urban locations, you've got locations that are in cities, but they're not quite downtown. So what we call that is residential or suburban. And you also have locations that are kind of all by themselves, and those are in locations that are more rural, okay? Now, I know that I've got a lot of neighbor islands folks here, but I know that there's also a lot of students from Oahu, and I just want to bring this up really quick. Oahu students, you kind of only on the island know urban, so major city, and rural, okay, country. And so it's really important that you reach out to admissions counselors like me, and we can tell you what our locations are like and how far away the cities are and what it takes to get there and what everything is going to be like for you when you come to the mainland. Students on the neighbor islands, you've got a lot of different types of towns, but you don't have that urban experience like they do in Oahu. So that's why I bring it up. But you've got to know where you want to go. You've got to know what it's like. You have to know what surrounds the campus, and you're going to go ahead and do all that research and look at every single college that way, okay? Ways that you can choose colleges on the mainland, for example, maybe you've got family there. Maybe you're checking out schools that have students from your high school there. Maybe you have siblings that are in college and you're kind of checking out those areas, or friends or aunties, uncles. Or maybe you know that you want to be in a location that snows. Well, you might want to pick different states and different locations based on what you're interested in. Remember, set up criteria, do research, which college or university is the best fit for you. First thing we're going to look at, location. Let's move on to category number 2, size. Every single college has a different size. Some can be as small as 500 total students. That's it. Can you believe it? 500 students. Most schools in Hawaii for high school, they have more students than 500 students. But the range for colleges, especially on the mainland, goes all the way up to, is everybody ready? Okay, 70,000 students. So you have a ratio of 500 total at the small end, 70,000 at the high end, and anything and everything in between. So what I want all of you to do is think about size as it relates to your personality as a student. So a couple things that come to mind for size. Do you want to be in big classes? Do you want to be in small classes? Do you want your classes to be lecture-based, where you have sort of a general presentation, take notes, go back to your residence hall or your dorm room or wherever you're living on that campus, do homework, and then show up, repeat, repeat, repeat? This depends on each and every one of your personalities, okay? You've got lecture-based classes where you kind of get a presentation and that's what it is. And then there's also schools based on size, notably smaller schools, where there are discussion-based classes, all right? So you receive information from the professors every day, but then your attendance is required. You have to go to class, or you have to participate in class and raise your hands and ask questions and contribute your thoughts and ideas. So size is going to affect your experience every single day when you're in college, from how big or small your classes are going to be, to the interaction or not with professors that are there, to how you meet your classmates. A couple other things that are really important about size, it'll affect how long it takes to graduate. Some schools require more than 4 years. It's just a reality, it's a fact. Some schools don't, all right? Some schools, based on size, allow you to select a major that you're interested in, so your degree program, and you can start at your first year. Some schools don't, all right? Some schools, if they're large, what they do is they make you do pre-professional or pre-preparatory programs. I'll give you an example: pre-nursing, pre-engineering, things like that. So they make you start as a sort of a pre-prep student, and then later, after you take your first couple of years of coursework, you reapply later to get into your degree. A lot of this is dictated by size, okay? How big or small are the different colleges that you're considering? How does that affect you as a student and what your learning style is like? And what do you need based on size? Do you want to be a name on campus where people know your name, all right? Or do you want to be at a place where it's super independent and they may not? Remember, none of these things based on location and size, we've tackled categories number 1 and 2 today. None of these things are good or bad or wrong or right. There is no specific pathway for every single student based on the categories I'm talking about today. This is for each and every one of you and your family. Which place is the right fit? We're going to look at location and size. Let's move on. One of the really important aspects is you're going to go to college, whether you're going to stay in Hawaii or leave Hawaii and go to the mainland, but you're also going to study there. And you have to know at every single place that you're applying to that they offer a degree that you're interested in. Why is this an important aspect of the college search? Because a lot of students and parents are in here right now saying, well, of course, we're not going to send our sons and daughters to colleges that don't offer degree programs that we're interested in. However, many students fall into the trap and they see things like this, University of, and it's a large university that represents the state that you're considering, Oregon, Washington, California, University of. And students fall into the trap of assuming that all degrees are offered at all locations. This is not true. Many universities specialize in specific degree programs, and many universities have their own niche being what's important there, what's special there. But not all places offer all degrees. And so I'm going to give you an example. There are some schools in Oregon that offer engineering programs, and there are some schools that don't. But we do have a lot of students that attend one particular institution. I'm not going to name the name because it's an amazing institution, but they don't offer engineering. And so we get a lot of students scrambling during their first year of college when they're there. And they say, oh my goodness, I can't study what I'm interested in here. I've got to transfer out. But the thing is, the reason that degree programs is category number 3 on our college search is because I want all of you to put in the legwork, the research ahead of time, and only apply to schools that offer degree programs that you would actually be able to pursue. Then you have to ask questions like this. How long does it take to graduate? Can I declare my degree when I get accepted and start that my first year? Or do I have to wait? Another way of saying this is, are degree programs direct entry or are they not? Okay, direct entry. That's a term that all of you need to become familiar with. And you need to consider every single school based on that, okay? Degree programs, what can you study? What are they like? When can you start them? And how long does it take to graduate? And you're only going to apply to colleges that offer degrees that you're interested in. One more element of degree programs, and then I'm going to move on to one of my favorite categories, number 4, the next one. I want all of you to research what type of real-world experiences are available in the degree programs that you're interested in at all the different colleges that you're considering. So I know all of you are probably thinking, okay, I kind of know what he's talking about, real world experiences. Let's mention a couple things. Internships. Can you work before you graduate and get experience and maybe have a resume? All right. Can you do research with professors in the local area that you're going to college? Maybe you're a biology student and your aspirations are going to be a pre-medicine student and go on to medical school. Well, how are you going to be able to engage in life science in the community and do research and get involved so that you can become a better student that way? You can know a lot about a whole bunch of different types of things outside of just going to class every day. So research, internships, maybe based on your major, you want to get involved in service, community service, and go out and help communities that you're involved in based on your major. These are all really important things. So remember to look at location, size, and degree programs. Next on our list, if you're leaving home to go to the mainland for college, you are most likely also going to be living at that college. So you want to make sure that you're considering campus experience in your college search. What does campus experience mean? It means, what is the culture like on the college campuses that you're considering? What is the vibe like? What is the personality like? Do you know that there are over really close to 5,000 colleges and universities that you can all apply to? And all of them have a different culture, a different personality, a different vibe, a different way of living. The students are different. The experiences are different. So you need to make sure that Where you go to college syncs up culturally and academically. How do those two come together? How does it suit your needs as a student, but also as a place to live? So a couple things that come to mind that you need to consider. What's the food like? All right, do they have good food? Here's another thing that's really important for students from the Aloha State. Is it important for you to go to a college, especially if it's on the mainland, that has students from Hawaii? Okay, some schools do, some schools don't. This is based on location. Okay, remember this all connects. Some schools have Hawaii clubs. Some schools have luau's. Some schools don't. Some schools have athletics, Division I, Division II, Division III. Some schools specialize in soccer. Some schools specialize in football. What place syncs up with who you want to be socially, engaged in your community? Not all schools offer everything for every student. What is the place like, and what does it offer for you? Couple more things and then we're going to move on. All right. Clubs. What can you get involved in? Intramurals. And based on your location, if it's in a big city, are you going to be downtown, shopping, movies, malls, restaurants, coffee shops, places to study, all of the excitement of that urban experience? However, I am certain that there are many students in this room right now that are saying, that's not for me. I want to be in the countryside. I want mountains. I want oceans. I want hiking and kayaking in nature. In which case, then you're a different type of student and you're going to look at locations that are connected to nature, and maybe they aren't going to be urban, big city center types of schools. So look at all these things, figure out what the personality is like, and how does that meet your needs as a student, but also as a person. One more thing that I want to mention. Okay, so during this coronavirus, all of us are at home right now. Stay-at-home orders, restaurants closed, you can only do takeout, limited social distancing, all those things. One thing that has really benefited students from Hawaii right now is virtual experiences at every single college on their website. You know, like I said earlier at the first part of my presentation today, many students go to college on the mainland, but they never got a chance to visit. Now, there are so many virtual experiences online, it's almost the next best thing. You can take campus tours at any school now online. You can talk with students live or watch recorded sessions and do like a student panel and get sort of firsthand knowledge of what it's like to be a student at the different schools that you're considering. You can engage in webinars and do academic programs where they do sessions online and you can tune in. And you can also do one-on-one sessions with admissions counselors like me. So remember that now there are so many more virtual experiences that even if students can't visit campuses physically, it really does provide an opportunity now for you to explore virtually. So that's a part of campus experience. I encourage all of you to go online. I encourage all of you to connect with every single school that you're considering. All right. Now, we talked about location. We talked about size and degree programs and also the campus experience. These are really important aspects of trying to figure out which college or university is the best fit for you. Now, what I want parents in our room to shout out very loudly right now. Okay, repeat after me. I want everybody to shout this as loud as you can. Category number 5, cost. Shout it out right now, cost. This is an incredible aspect of the college search process. We don't ignore it. We don't hide it. Cost may define, and for most students and families, it will define where you end up sending your sons and daughters to college. Cost, affordability, scholarships, financial aid, all of those things are incredibly important. But I want to ask a question really quick, and I know that you can't unmute. I know that you can't show your video. Does anybody in this room right now want to guess why I put cost last on our list of 5? All right. A lot of students say, well, I don't know why. Cost should be number 1. Well, you know what? Ultimately, it might be. But the reason that I put cost last on our list today is not because it's not important. It's because we're going to use these 5 criteria, number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4, location, size, degree programs, campus experience. And we're going to utilize this information as you're doing your research on these things to determine where you want to apply. Okay, doesn't matter if you're a senior right now, a junior, or a sophomore. You're going to utilize this information to build your list of schools that you're going to be applying to. Well, you're not going to be able to determine cost until after you get accepted. However, the first 4 categories that we're talking about right now, that's what you're going to determine based on what you're going to use to determine where to apply to. So a couple questions. Do you care about how much a college costs if they don't offer your degree program, category number 3? I would hope not. You're not going to apply to schools that don't offer degree programs that you're interested in. What if it's in the wrong location? You know that you want to go to Washington, California, Oregon, you want to go to New York. Well, you're probably not going to apply to schools that aren't in those locations, all right? If you're not interested in applying to colleges outside of Hawaii, for example, then you're not really going to start looking at schools and analyzing their cost until after you've pinpointed the first 4 categories on our list today. So I want you to hone in on location. I want you to make sure that the size is right for you and that schools offer your degree programs. And then you want to make sure that you like where you're living if you go to college. So the campus experience has to sync up before you consider cost. I'll give an example to parents. Okay, let's say, okay, for being a parent, okay, I'm not a parent. Let's say if I was, let's talk about campus experience from the parent perspective. I would not send my son or daughter to a college if they didn't offer residence halls, okay, especially going from Hawaii. So that's really important. That's part of the campus experience. What is the culture like? What is the place like? How is this an appropriate place for your sons and daughters and for you students? If it's important for you to have residence halls, then you're going to look at all those things and then you're going to apply and tackle cost after you get accepted. Everybody right now, what we have discussed right now is the college search process. This is everything that you need right now to consider where you're going to apply, the research that you're going to put in to determine where to apply, and ultimately where you're going to end up attending. What I want to do is offer up some information that you can utilize today, sort of a takeaway from this session right now. You can actually do research and put all this together, and you can do it in Excel. You can pull up an Excel worksheet, all right? Grab a blank Excel document, label it college search process, all right? 2020, 2021, if you're a junior, 2021, 2022. College search process 2020, 2021, an Excel worksheet. You can label all of the columns across the top, and you can put in these 5 categories, all right? Location, size, degree programs, campus experience, and cost all across the top. What are you going to put in on the side and create rows and columns? On the left side, as you go down, you can put all the different colleges that you're considering. I'll throw out some examples. UH Manoa, okay? UH Hilo, University of Portland, University of Washington, Gonzaga, Seattle University, Pepperdine, all of the University of California schools, all right? The SUNY schools in New York, maybe you're looking at East Coast, Dartmouth, Brown, things like that, okay? So you can put all these categories across the top. You can put the different colleges down the side. And as you do your research, you can start doing X marks or check marks, all right? As you do your research, when you find out that you have 5 check marks, you have a good fit school. If you only end up with 4 or 3, guess what? It is not the right fit. You have to have 5. Location has to be right. Size has to be right. Degree programs has to be right. And so does campus experience and cost. So I'm going to talk about all those things really quick as far as cost is concerned, because I'm going to give you the breakdown of what's going to happen based on financial aid in general terms. And then I'm going to tell you about a couple things that are changing in our college search and college application process right now based on sort of the happenings of coronavirus, okay? Couple changes, a changing landscape, okay? So first, after you do your Excel worksheet and you've determined, okay, I've got 5 check marks, the only way to get 5 check marks is to apply to colleges. Most colleges accept a variety of different types of applications. Some have their own on their website. Some are members of the Common Application. That's an application that has over 900 schools that you can apply to, but you only have to fill out the application one time. The Common Application, okay? Some schools also are part of other affiliations with, like, you might have heard if you're looking at University of Washington or some other schools, it's an application called the Coalition Application. So you need to figure out how you're going to apply and the different types of applications that schools accept. Then you need to look at timelines, okay? You need to look at when is the first day that you can submit an application? What do the colleges consider early? And what do they consider late? There are also different styles of admission, so getting accepted to colleges. I'll give you examples. Some schools are called rolling admissions. What that means is you can apply when the school starts accepting applications all the way up till their deadline, and you can do it whenever you want, and then receive an admissions decision when you apply. Other schools offer an application process that's called early decision. So you can apply, but if you get accepted, you are required to go to that college. You have to tell every other school that you've applied to that you will not be attending because you applied. Early decision, which is a binding application, all right? That's a binding application. It means you have to go there if you're accepted. There are other schools that offer a process called early action. So what that means, you can find out really early, just like early decision, but it's non-binding, okay? And there are other schools that have one deadline, and you have to apply by then, but they won't start looking at applications until that deadline is over, okay? I'll just throw out an example. Let's say November 15th would be a deadline for a school. So what they're going to do is have all the students apply by then, and then they're going to start making decisions after that. That's really different than rolling admissions, because if a school starts accepting applications in September, but they stop accepting, like their deadline's January 1st or something like that, that means that they're admitting students in December, and you can get your acceptance letter if you apply early. And a lot of schools that are rolling are non-binding. University of Portland, for example, where I work, is non-binding, okay? If you apply, you can get accepted early. We're rolling, but you don't have to commit until you're a senior on the May 1st deadline. Most colleges are going to require that you make a commitment and say, yes, I want to be a college student at your school, and the day to do that by is May 1st. Okay, that's sort of a universal deadline to decide where you're going to college as a senior. Okay, so you've looked at how you're going to apply and where you're going to apply to, what the process is like, what are the dates, whether it's binding or not. And then you have to figure out what you want to submit as far as what the school's requirements are. Okay, many schools require that you send in an electronic document of your official high school transcript. All right. You're also going to most likely be required to turn in 1, 2, or 3 letters of recommendation. You need to connect with your college counselors at high school. You need to connect with your teachers, and you need to connect with your community members based on the colleges that you're applying to and whether or not they need 1, 2, or 3 or more letters of recommendation. So we talked a little bit about high school transcript and letters of recommendation. Some colleges require separate essays. Some require resumes. You need to figure out what's required so that you can complete your application at all the colleges that you are applying to. And I guarantee you, this process can become a little bit, let's just say, involved. That's the best word I can say now, because every school requires different material to complete applications where you're applying. So it's all different, and you need to figure out what you need to do at every school, okay? Parents, same thing. Be informed. Ask what you need to turn in. Okay. Let's talk about test scores and the changing landscape of college admissions. Okay. Many schools, just like University of Portland, have moved on to become test optional. Do you know why? because most of us have been on stay-at-home orders since March because of the coronavirus. We've been at home since March, okay? It's a long time. I don't know about all of you, but I've been at stay-at-home orders since March, and I'm doing virtual visits like this, and I'm going crazy, all right? But one thing that has happened because of this is that for college admissions, most schools have moved to a test optional model because you weren't able to take the SAT. You weren't able to take the ACT. Maybe you're a junior or a senior right now and they weren't offered. For these reasons, schools offer an option for you to either opt in to take an SAT or ACT, which means they will be a part of your application. And schools offer an option for you to opt out, which means that if you opt out, they won't be a part of your application. And schools will not punish students if they don't have test scores or if they don't want them to receive your test scores. Maybe you already have some, but you still want to opt out. That's okay. All right. Many schools have already been put in place the policy that they're going to opt out or in, so make it optional for juniors right now that are in high school as well. So for example, all my juniors that are interested in University of Portland next year, when you apply, we're also test optional then. So this is really important stuff. This is a huge change. I think that it's a benefit for students that either don't have test scores or they don't want them to be a part of their application. Please know that you need to know what the policies are at the schools that you're considering. Likewise, there's one other thing that changed. A lot of our high schools that we're attending right now, when we were at stay-at-home orders in the March through June, okay, what that means is many schools offered pass or no pass or credit, no credit grades. Schools are considering those, and you're not going to be penalized if you have all passes but no grades. Does that make sense? So we're taking that into consideration as well at University of Portland. It's not going to affect you negatively when you apply. So we understand what's going on. Students have pass, no pass for one semester or for an entire year at their high school. They have credit, no credit, all right? And test scores are optional. Remember all these things. It's really important, and know what you're getting into at every school that you're applying to. Then, kind of to wrap things up today, I want to talk about cost and financial aid. I'm going to talk about it specifically as if you were leaving Hawaii for the mainland, because the process really involves 3 steps. Step 1, Step 2, and Step 3. So you found out that you're accepted at the schools, you turned in your letters of recommendation, your transcripts, you opted in or out for your test scores, you turned in writing samples, all the things that the schools are considering. Most schools now are holistic. They really are. They look at everything, especially now they want to read your experiences based on the virus and how it's affected you. And, you know, it can be good, it can be silver linings, it can be bad. And you can tell all the schools what's going on a personal level. This is a really important piece of every student's application right now because it's affecting all of our lives. So you're going to do all those things, find out if you're accepted, and then you're going to start working on financial aid. Step 1, most schools offer, when you're accepted, a merit-based scholarship. A merit-based scholarship is largely dependent upon your high school performance, your GPA, the grades that you receive in class, whether you're taking AP classes or honors classes. And I know many of you in here today are in the International Baccalaureate program or the IB program. Many of you are also doing Running Start, Gear Up, Upward Bound with different Hawaii programs where you're in college, whether it's at a UH school or a state school or at a community college, and you're getting college credit while you're in high school, dual enrollment programs. Schools look at all these things, plus your GPA, the caliber of your classes, and the quality of your program, and that's what's going to determine a merit-based scholarship. Some schools offer $5,000 in merit-based scholarships. Some offer 10 and 15 at the starting point, and some go all the way up to 30 to 40,000 per year, which could be 50 to 60% off the total cost. You also need to know what total cost is and budget. You've got to look at things like plane tickets. You have to buy transportation. You also have to buy books for class. You have to pay for tuition and housing and food and room and board. Merit-based scholarships usually happen exactly at the moment that you get accepted, so it happens automatically and students don't apply for them. That's step one. Step two is that you need to fill out the FAFSA. The FAFSA is required in order to go through the financial aid process outside of merit-based scholarships. You need to fill out the FAFSA to get loans, student loans, parent loans, work studies, any additional financial aid at every school. They won't give you anything unless you fill out a FAFSA. And every year you fill out the FAFSA and it starts October 1st. Last but not least, step three is that you are going to apply for outside scholarships. You're going to apply for outside scholarships, and most schools stack them. What does stackable mean? It means if you got a merit-based scholarship and you got financial aid because you filled out the FAFSA, like a work study, a loan, a grant, things like that. If you bring in outside scholarships, they're going to go on top of everything else, and there's no limit as far as what you can put on top or stack. So remember, look at the criteria that we set up today. Determine the schools that you want to apply to. After you're accepted, you're going to be considered most likely at most schools for a merit-based scholarship. Then you're going to fill out the FAFSA and you're going to apply for outside scholarships along the way. I want to wish all of you the best of luck as far as your college search is concerned. And I want to thank you for being here for today's session. It's really, really important that you know that I'm here for you as far as being a representative at University of Portland. If you're interested in applying to our school or any other school, reach out to your college admissions representatives. We're here to assist you. We want to help you, especially during these turbulent times that we're living in. I'm going to pull up one more screen before we end things today. And I'm just going to show you a picture of our campus. All right. And there it is. And if you want to visit some of our virtual experience, because I got to tell you a little bit about University of Portland as well. This is our campus. We're right outside of downtown Portland, 15 minutes away from the airport. We're also a Catholic university. We accept students from all different religious backgrounds or not. 50% of our campus is Catholic, 50% of our students are not. Mass or church is not required. We welcome everybody. We have 4,000 students. We have 10% of our campus that comes from Hawaii. You have students from all 50 states and over 42 countries. And we have an amazing residential experience where you can do residence halls, get involved in Hawaii Club, take advantage of one of the largest luau's in the Pacific Northwest on a college campus, which is right here. And we have Division I athletics, community service, and you're in Portland, which is an amazing city. So again, here are the resources that you need to connect to our website if you'd like virtual experiences at UP. What I'm going to go ahead and do a stop share. All right, sorry about that because I showed that twice. I'm going to jump on this Q&A feature right now, and I'm going to see if there are any questions that I can answer for the group. And what I'm going to go ahead and just kind of go down the line. All right. What's the culture at University of Portland? Is the food good there? I love eating food on our campus and in Portland. You've heard of food trucks, food carts. If you're from Oahu and you go to the North Shore and you see the shrimp carts and things like that, we have a culture of that in Portland. Food is amazing. It's local. We do a lot of local stuff here. It's sustainable. No hormones, no additives. It's safe. It's good for you. And it's also a little bit less expensive because Oregon does not have sales tax. The culture at University of Portland, like I said, is residential. You're going to live on campus. You're going to have a great community. All right. Moving on, how many colleges is it sufficient to apply to? After you do the research with the categories that we just talked about today, everybody, I would hope that you would build a list of a maximum of 10. But my recommendation is that you really narrow down your list of colleges to 5 or 6. They have to have a degree that you're interested in. They have to be in the right location and have the right size. And they also have to have a great campus experience and work out for you financially. 5 or 6 would be my goal, no more than 10. Thank you. What sports do we offer? Everything from soccer, basketball, baseball, track and field, cross country, rowing, all right, and tennis. It's a great place. Please check us out. And it looks like I've got about 30 seconds. Nope, it is currently time to conclude today's session. We are out of time. Thank you for your questions. And if you want to follow up, remember that first slide that I showed you today had my contact info. All of your college counselors in Hawaii at your schools know me as well. Please get in touch if you need assistance. Have a wonderful rest of the weekend. And by the way, just one last thing before I end. Later this afternoon, if you're going to jump on and do the college sessions during these fairs today, I am in session C5 from 3 to 3:45. So you can come listen to the University of Portland, and that's when I'm going to get a little bit more specific about where I work, what UP is all about, and I hope to see you there. Thank you, everybody. Have a great rest of the afternoon, and good luck with your college search. If you follow the guidelines we talked about today, you will end up at the best fit school for you. Take care, everybody. Thank you, and best wishes, and stay safe.
Thanks, everyone. Thank you, Matt.
Thank you, Ms. Brotman. Take care, everybody, and we'll see you during the college sessions later, okay? I'm going to go ahead and leave the room. Best wishes, stay safe. Thank you, everybody.